I'm writing this letter to inspire others, that whatever your situation, you have the power to make a difference and influence business positively. I fell into marketing shortly after graduating in 1989. At the time, the profession was pretty much misunderstood by many organisations and seemed only good for adding gloss to a sales story. For me, marketing provided an opportunity to understand behaviour. I've always been curious about why people do what they do and read how marketing could influence decision making. My first job was for a mobile phone company. I was still quite young really, very idealistic and slightly naive. I didn't know at the time, but this lack of worldly experience would be my greatest asset. I could see no barriers, only challenges. Aware of tightening purse strings and the impact of word of web on consumers, I began to promote the idea internally about incentivising our customers to recycle their phones. Having found out that many of our phone components were being dumped on enormous rubbish tips in the third world where children work, drove me to make this work. I strongly believe that apart from establishing a uniquely competitive position, the business model was sustainable. Our company was the first to introduce the scheme, which we quickly rolled out to non-customers virally, using our mobile network and via social media platforms. As soon as consumers became aware of what was happening to their discarded phones, it simply wasn't cool of businesses to dump on the third world. Take-up of the scheme was enormous, particularly amongst our younger customers, who were in the driving seat for tomorrow's market. I also instigated a partnering with a third world charity which helped to replace the lost income by the children working on the dumps. Details of this initiative eventually became embedded into our shareholders' annual report, and over time investors could also see the benefits. Even though my sustainable marketing efforts had been rewarded by a meteoric rise in the profession, times were changing. Later that decade, a recession began to take hold. At the same time, the science behind climate change was being questioned. It looked as though sustainable marketing was about to become yet another fad, as consumer choice was predominantly being determined by their wallets. There was no denying, however, natural disasters as volcanic eruptions were becoming more frequent, brought about through extreme weather changes. I strongly believed the key to keeping the subject of sustainable marketing alive was to keep close to consumer thinking. It's now 2025 and our planet really is creaking. Our energy resources in particular are causing great concern. I am now faced with my biggest challenge yet. Gas reserves are minimal and electricity from wind, wave and nuclear are still struggling to cope with demand. Solar has been rolled out to about 25% of the UK so far, but it's still too expensive for many. Generating your own energy as a reserve would be the great next step to make. This is an enormous undertaking, but I will once again refer to my learnings about consumer behaviour and, of course, Maslow's hierarchy of needs.